Hey, I'm Richard Miller with Goldie May, and this is the live genealogy research series. Watch as James Tanner and I, along with invited guests, work through a genealogy problem with no script and no agenda. Maybe you'll learn from the big strategy, maybe you'll learn from the small features in the tools, or maybe you'll just see a better way to do it and you can leave a comment so we can all learn. I hope you find this really helpful. Now, here is the research. Welcome to episode 9. We are going to look at an end of line situation in Ireland. So I know Ireland has some unique challenges, and I have a family member from my wife's side of the family that I'll ask James to look at. This is Marianne Leach, and so 166 sources, varying information, but then the father, one source. And I believe the mother would be pretty similarly light on sources. So end of line situation, if we go to the subway map this is the, Marianne, let me switch to state here. She's County Down, Ireland, Northern Ireland, and then Nauvoo, Illinois, and then Utah. Yeah, the big mystery here is, what do we really know about her parents and what can we find out?
Okay, well, it looks to me like we need to go through some of the same process that we've had to see who was married where and when. It said that she and her husband were married in Hillsborough, Down, Ireland. And 166 sources we might find the marriage in there. So let's check and see if that gives us a starting place.
So we're looking at, the years a little bit hard to read there, 1842. Okay, so at least, it looks like I do not see anything before 1844. Ship passenger list. What do we know about this marriage?
Okay, the second thing, it's kind of going down the internal mental checklist that I have here in my head.
Okay.
The second thing was, what do we have that shows that she was clear down on that long list of children that those were her parents? Do we have anything that shows a parent-child relationship?
Great. So do you want to look at her sources
first? Let's look down the whole kind of. Let me see if you go. Okay. That's about fast enough. Look on that, the church record. Sure. Husband William.
Talking about her son, I believe. So Marianne Leach is our subject.
Yeah. Okay. No,
we're talking about her son.
Sometimes they have the parents' names, but that's not there.
Okay.
Okay. No,
so that'd be the same.
For. Yeah, anytime it says for, that's not them.
Okay.
Canadian U.S. Census. No, that doesn't do anything.
I don't know. Maybe you already take for granted that they're from Ireland. If she is, maybe that's not worth looking at. Well, okay, that's interesting. Father's birthplace, Scotland. Mother's birthplace, Ireland.
Okay, that's going to be a little bit problematic. Mm-hmm. So we'll come back to that.
Okay.
Let's just. This is kind of getting an idea of who these people are. The death certificate will sometimes tell her parent. No, that's not hers. Okay, we're looking for death certificate. Somebody did research and has a research log. So, okay, here's her membership record. Look at her membership record. Then we may have to go out and look at it. But this is. Does it show?
Okay. Yeah.
Charles and Catherine Mills. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that's information that she provided herself when she was baptized into the church, or when she had a chance to correct the information or add additional information. An important thing to understand here when we're looking at this kind of record is the background from the record. And this is a record from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And it's important to understand that she had to supply this information, and that the members of the church generally had an opportunity to review that information annually, or anytime they wanted to. In other words, there was always available.
Okay, very interesting. Yeah.
So that, from that standpoint, we'd have a pretty strong opinion that this was something that she personally had given. Now, the problem I see is that they did not have a place in Ireland for the marriage, and they do not have a place. Let's look up at the top. No birth.
You're saying her own birth was in Down.
She was born in Hillsborough Down. Okay, well then let's take that as correct. I'm just recalling the fact that my one of my great grandfathers, who was born in Ireland, when he told his daughter where he was born, she wrote it down wrong.
Okay. Always a risk.
And it took me 15 years to find out where he was born.
Yeah.
So, because we started off with the wrong one. So we hopefully that's not the case here. Okay. So, the rest of this stuff is going to be maybe helpful, but since we have a specific place. So let's go look at Hillsborough Down on Wikipedia or someplace and see where she is, where that is. Using Goldie May, we pull it up.
No, just pop that open.
Okay, so this is on the map, and that puts it on the map.
You want to see it in
Google. Okay, now so we may have just explained the other side of that we just noted, and that her husband was put down as Scottish and is born in Scotland, and that is very entirely possible because Northern Ireland is actually part of part of Great Britain. But now we need to know two facts. When did Ireland become independent of England? Okay. So we need that fact. So we go out and look at that fact. 1922 on 6 December. And so go back to
would she be is this the Scotch Irish that came from Scotland to Northern Ireland?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she may be Scotch Irish. That would be a very high probability that at some point in the past that her was from Ireland. What was happening in Northern Ireland and part of the history, and of course this is going to be extremely truncated. This is your summary kind of history of Ireland. What happened over the beginning, clear back in the 1600s, is that England conquered Ireland and took it over, the whole country. And so the Irish people were never happy with that, particularly because the people in England were Church of England and had separated from the Catholic Church, and the Irish were all dedicated to Catholics. And so we have this Catholic Protestant issue that started
divide, huh? Yeah.
clear back in the 1600s. So the history of Ireland is just the history of the constant warfare between England and Ireland. Sometimes England was on top, sometimes Ireland threw the English out, drove them away. Mostly the English were very much able to keep track of Belfast. In other words, that was the kind of the place where they kept going. During the time that England was let's say, call it in charge or occupying Ireland, they drove all of the ethnic native Irish people out of the Northern Ireland portion, drove them into the hills. And they then replaced them with what's called a plantation system in Ireland. The plantation system was that they brought workers in from England and Scotland to work on the plantations. And if you think that plantations originated in the U.S. South and that it was some kind of thing having to do with the Civil War, eventually that's kind of the same type of thing. These people that were brought over from Ireland, from Scotland and from England to work in Northern Ireland did not own any property at all. They were landless, and they were basically tenants at risk, tenants that whenever they wanted a determinable tenancy, so they could basically be put off the land anytime, which they were, by the way, at the end of in different periods. So let's go back and look at the dates that are involved here.
So on Wikipedia, do you want to look up some of the?
Yeah, the kids, like the marriage.
The kids. Yep.
The marriage date and the children, and just see what's going on, see who they came. So it says they were actually married over there in the same place. So she hadn't left or any place. And the first one child what's the first one that came up with the date? Yeah, the first
43.
child was born.
Yeah.
And then they're here by 1845.
Yeah.
Okay, so sometime, and I am assuming that someplace on when did she die? 1902, that there may be, at least in the 1900 census, that probably tells if she was an immigrant when she came to America. Maybe not, but that's would be the source.
You want to you want to take a minute to confirm that, or
yeah. So if you go down and see if here's census, okay, 1882. Let's look at the 1880 census. Just see if it says anything. Nope, doesn't say anything about. Says they're from Ireland, and that's all. Okay, we need to go to the she's still alive in 1902, and she may end up in the 1900 census. Yeah. Well, that's
immigration year. Yeah, 1844.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So she immigrated in 1844, and it's also possible that her husband. Let's look at the census records, see if they both came at the same time. So if you're aware that the census records are going to give you this information, and so that's very helpful. It's over to the right a little more. It'll say there.
All right. So this doesn't have a year for him, but just for her, 1844.
Yeah.
And then this record says Scotland again for the father, where 1880 says Ireland for her father.
Mm-hmm.
You could get that back and forth. Yeah, for her father. Yeah.
But he was born in.
And he was born in Utah.
Her husband was born in Utah.
Hmm.
So
married in Ireland can't happen, right? If
well, here's an interesting story.
Or did he go back?
How did we get there?
Yeah. Did he had just one husband, and
so why is Adam?
Great question.
Why is Adams born in the United States?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's look at his records.
Take a look at him.
Let's see what he says.
Well, I mean, did I look at that right? I think I did, but the tree says born in Ireland in same county as she was. Did I look at that right? Let me go back to
let's go double check what we did.
Yeah.
Okay. William Adams. Is that her?
William Adams, Utah.
It says he was born in Utah, and his parents were born in Ireland.
Doesn't have an immigration date for him.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't an immigrant if he was born in Utah.
He wasn't born. Yeah, that's right.
But how did he get married in Ireland?
Yeah.
It could go, well, let's find out if there's something that tells us how that happened.
So do we go, I don't know, do we go through his census records and see if it was just an anomaly, that Utah
maybe
birthplace? Okay.
Well, it's not going to tell us. Well, it might be. 1850 is a little early for that. Try it.
We could try. Okay, we could try 1880 too. 1880 as well. So
yeah, 1880 is a good place to start.
Birthplace Ireland.
No, see, he was born in the United States.
Okay, so maybe we just have one stray errant record, William.
Yeah, and this shows the importance of looking at a lot of records, not just relying on one record. Except it says Utah right there.
I was looking at this first line, right? You saying?
Yeah, but see, now it's the child that was born in Utah. So somebody just got mixed up.
Okay. Yep. Okay. So we feel like he was born in Ireland. They were married in Ireland, we think. Mm-hmm.
And they probably came in 1844.
1844. Okay.
Because if he came over either before or, at a similar time as she came over.
Yeah.
And so you're guessing, and he's not saying, well, let's see if there's a record that says where he's born. That would be one that I would want to see.
And funny enough, there's a part of that 1880 census. Is that saying that she was born in Germany? Germany. And this is
the wrong line.
Mary Adams. Yeah. Okay. Well, do we want to look for a birth record for him? Is that what I said? Heard you say?
Let's just put census records into the category of not original records. They are derived records. Somebody had to ask
So
this, right?
depending on who answered the questions.
Yeah. And
yeah.
So that,
Okay,
that
great
doesn't
question.
make any, even her name doesn't make any sense with Germany. So
yeah, that's right. It does sound more English Irish.
okay, let's see if there's something. There's a 1900. Did we look at a 1900 census? Let's see if that's.
I think we did for.
You should turn on your tracker and that
Yeah.
might let's get back to the. Yeah, that's there they are. They're underneath the tape.
So right there, huh?
Yeah.
Ireland, Germany,
Okay, so
Germany,
it there
Germany.
shows he came. She says Germany all the way across there.
Yeah, year of immigration of the United States 63 now instead of she was 44 before. So
Go back.
maybe we're looking at a different William and Mary Adams.
Who are we talking about? Have we have the wrong family with the William and Mary?
I think maybe this is a common enough name that we're looking at someone. Maybe the wrong.
No, see, look at that. Let's see if we go down and maybe there's another one. That's really.
Yeah, let me look for 1900.
Look at the original again and let's see what's happening.
We've got a 1900 there.
This is the kind of thing you really have to deal with. I mean, you can't just accept everything you're saying.
Right, yeah.
And start going off on some tangent. You've got to work down and look at more documents before you get going. And
would I have seen this earlier if I had done some, that's not showing anything. I mean, and it looks like they don't have facts from the census on their tree under the details tab, or they would show up as points.
Somebody's had to deal with this before.
Yeah.
So let's look at the 1900 again. I want to make
sure. So back to that one. That's this one at the tape, I think.
Look at down the page and see, because there's more than one Adams there.
Yeah, we've got Agnes Adams.
Let's see if
I look I'll cheat and use the index here. It's a little messy.
Yeah. You get really tired of people who use tape on the census records.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's strange.
I mean, that immigration date's like way off.
63. Yeah, and it's Germany. What? I don't know. That's really
okay. Strange. And I think my understanding of this family member from my wife's family is that they were living in Parowan. I believe that's Iron County, Utah. Mm-hmm. And this is showing San Juan County, Utah.
Oh, okay. This isn't
maybe we're talking a different family. Yeah.
Yeah. This isn't even the same family. Somebody's put this in here in the wrong record.
Okay.
So let's see if there's another 1900 census record.
And I don't think there was when I did kind of the on-page search here. It was, there's my only two 1900s on the page.
Oh, well, somebody pulled the record from the wrong place.
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
so we could go back to details and actually, let me go back to her profile, see if she had a different 1900 record on her.
Yeah, well, that would show her husband.
Yeah. Maybe. And see, this one was. And that's Parowan. There's 1900 in Parowan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one we want.
Okay, the advantage of working with these particular families in this particular time period is if you've done as much of this as I have, I know where all these places are. I don't have to go look them up on.
Yeah, that's convenient. Yeah.
It's very much more convenient because I don't have to worry about, how far is Parowan from Cedar City and how far is Provo? Yeah. I know all it. I have to drive by all these all the time. So
yeah, this is the one where we see her, the husband being, quote unquote, born in Utah, which we don't think is right, but at least that's her, right? Ireland, Scotland, the father, Ireland, her mother, immigrated in 44. So I think this is the family, even if we have that one bad fact there.
I would guess, and unless we find a narrative or something, that story. Let's look at the memories and see if anybody's put anything in for her that tells more about that.
So
you've got stories, you've got life history.
Quite a bit of history, yeah. You're looking for particular things about her parents?
Well, anything that says that she says that there's a biographical sketch,
Yeah.
kinds of things. There may be a story at some point that says that she was born in Hillsborough. She was, and so forth.
Came to America in 44, crossing the ocean on the bark Fanny, which made the trip in 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm. From New Orleans and went up the Mississippi.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that simplifies it. So let's kind of move from there because let's see what we can find on the father.
Okay.
So we're basically looking at her parents now.
Okay.
And like you said, he has one source. So let's see what the one source.
Yeah, and I guess, am I looking at the right? Okay, so
we clicked over.
I realized that link we clicked earlier was for her husband. I think it's on her profile, but it's for her husband.
Yeah.
So maybe we got to go back and look at see if there's another church record for her.
That's okay because we just found that biography and everything. And
okay, good. Yeah.
It's we can look at that unless we find something like the Germany that gives us.
Yeah.
I don't think it was Germany. That was the wrong person. Too many same name, same person things.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we got some.
I don't think
cleanup to do there.
Records, you would think.
Okay.
Here's what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing as you go down through this list is that
let me go back.
We have 100 plus 166. There they are. See, now they're getting into some English parish registers.
Hmm.
And the question there is, why are we having an English parish register?
And you're just saying the names match, but we don't expect them to be in England. So this was just kind of a name only match.
Everything that we've said that's come from her said she was born in Hillsborough, you know. So basically these are name things that have been stuck in here.
Okay.
Now it would be helpful to go through this kind of a list and weed it out and find and just have those detached so they don't keep people don't keep thinking that maybe there's an English connection or whatever.
So besides removing the English records, do you take the liberty to remove some of the duplicates where there's like, the 1850 census is attached twice? Do you go ahead and remove?
Well, okay. Those one is from
like identical records.
Yeah, that was from Ancestry, and the same one's from Ancestry. Yes, that's a real duplicate.
So it doesn't matter. Yeah.
It doesn't. The amount of memory that it takes up is like an infinitesimal amount of information, and so it's not going to create any problem. And
so you personally leave it.
I don't see any reason to spend the time to do that. I mean, it's a waste
you're going to just browse over it anyway. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine, but it doesn't. It's the same person actually put it in twice too. To be.
Yeah. And maybe I don't know if it was a program that synced over or something like that, but
yeah. So it's done. It's. I've seen the problems I've seen is more damage done by people who tidy up the sources than people who have too many.
Okay.
It's easy to ignore the too many, and if they just keep detaching the ones that they think are duplicates but are not, then that becomes a problem.
Yeah. And I sure like to add the years in here personally, just add the event date.
Oh, so I think that's very helpful. Yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah.
And that puts everything into a chronological order. And so makes them easier to review.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we just kind of sweep down, we've already kind of rejected those Bristol.
Right. Yeah.
Records. It looks to me like the rest of it's pioneer stuff. Death record. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so here's what's happened. What's happened in this situation is that there's been a lot of action, a lot of people who are descendants of these people, and they have done a considerable, at least one person has done a considerable amount of research and added in apparently multiple copies for everything. But the problem is not that. The problem is that these records all focus on the exact same set of records. They're vital records of Utah. the pioneer records, and the federal census records. That's it. Now, beyond that, you'd have to go to the memories to see if there's any official documents there. So let's go back and look at memories and see what kind of official documents we may have. We have some life histories, even an article in the Relief Society magazine. Now, that may be very helpful unless it's just simply someone's memory. And in that case, it's going to be nice.
From 1928. Yeah. And she was 20 years after she passed.
Okay. Well, so this doesn't have any footnotes to either. So that's not telling us further sources.
Okay.
That's nice. I love it. It's great for the family, but it doesn't help find her parents.
Yeah, that's we need something a little more contemporary.
Yeah, now there's nothing down here. These are all biographical text files. It doesn't look like anything. There's that written document up there, handwritten document.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Family history compiled by Marion A. Can't quite make that out.
Oh, well, that may have some more interesting information about them, and it's very possible. That may be it. Yeah. What would be nice if someone would go through there and transcribe that.
Yeah.
It's not hard to read, but you're going to
hard to scan though, right?
Younger people that aren't going to be able to read that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move back to her father.
Okay.
And I'm surprised with the work that they've done on her that they have basically only one source. Now, when I mentioned about the sources is we go way beyond the kinds of sources that are missing. So we have probate sources, we have land and property sources, we have all sorts of, if you go to the Research Wiki, for example, and you don't need to do that right now, but if you go, there's on the right-hand side, you'll just see a whole list of different types of records that are going to help. And when we see that, we realize that sometimes the information doesn't come across clearly because they haven't used a lot of different kinds of records. So the reason they've got records from England and whatever is because they're matching names and doing name searches, and they come up with the same names for the parents and a child, and these names are extremely common.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Adams and Leach. Yes. Very. Okay, so let's see what's his source. One thing that they have on him, an autobiography, 1821 to 1894.
Which is about the time William moved his family to San Juan County. Now, San Juan County was that wrong county because I thought they were in Iron County, unless they're in both. But
Oh, okay.
So that's interesting too. That maybe this isn't even the right William. So we could take that to Internet Archive, I guess.
Yeah, looking in the archive.
Snapshot. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Okay. William Adams, son of Charles and Catherine, born Hillsborough County, Ireland. I guess, I should read this whole thing, but I'm wondering if this, does it mention, my wife was born from Germany, or are we talking about the right family still? Or what about that San Juan County connection, San Juan?
Yeah.
Maybe this doesn't talk about the Utah era for them, but we should check into that.
You're getting into basically that you're always going to create some questions by going through this process, because if you systematically look at the sources and then compare them to what's listed, sometimes you're going to have a question. And if you keep reading and get through all of it, then it may be clarified in what happened. But
well, this will be a good one to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can't. So that's probably the first thing I do is read through this autobiography and see if we've even got the right person.
Okay.
Okay, so summarize. So after looking at this, it really appears like there's a tremendous amount of well, not tremendous, that's no wrong word to use, that there's a considerable amount of information that we still need. And in order to make sure that we have the right parent in this, is going to have to take more information. The amount of information that we have on the daughter, what's her name?
Mary. Yeah.
Mary Leach. Who married Adams.
Yep.
Mary Ann Leach, who married Adams, is considerable, but it's all the similar kinds of records. It's all census record, and then some vital records like a birth, death record, and then a few other records thrown in from the church records. But in order to get back from the United States back to Ireland, we're going to have a lot more records that connect the two, rather than just the fact, well, that's where they came from. Mm-hmm. Now, we may be able to, and what's missing as far as I'm concerned, just to the first blush, is that why haven't we looked at the records that might be available from that place in Ireland where she says she's from? We haven't got anything that says it's from the Irish County Down or Hillsborough records. Mm-hmm. And without that, we can't really tell how extra. Plus, we have all this sorts of sources in there. One that says she's from Ireland, one that says she's from Germany, one that says that they came over both came over at different times, when they came over at the same time, so
it looks like there's a lot to review in just what we have.
You've got to have a good foundation before you start trying to jump over the ocean and come up with records in Ireland. If you're not really 100% sure, or very high percentage sure that that's her father and that you've got the right family, you may be just marching off into the distance,
So we can save the leap across the ocean for another day then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
Good. All right. Thanks, James.
We'll see you.
Bye-bye.